Hi, everybody. This is Tom with Culture Chap. So, today I want to talk about villains, delicious villains, the best evil villains, and what you need to do to give them some background. So, I recently saw a Twelfth Night, Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, and it was shorter than usual, maybe. I've used to work at a Shakespeare festival, so I've seen Twelfth Night a lot of times, but I felt this one was shorter. Maybe it had cuts. The cuts were good because the story still made sense. And as I was preparing for this video, I started looking up Malvolio. He is the villain. And in Shakespeare's scripts, as many of you know, there are no stage directions, very few, maybe one in the whole series of 36 plays. So you have to interpret what the background information is on your villains, on your other characters, on the business these people do to create character. So the people that don't know, what I saw was a Malvolio who just comes on and starts berating people, but I didn't see him at all before that point. So suddenly you're like, jerk. But the people he's berating, people he's scolding, because he's the steward, he's the butler, he's in control of the house, are drunks. So it's Andrew Aguecheek, a guest of the drunk, and Sir Toby Belch, the cousin of the leading lady whose house it is. So we have two loudmouths late at night, blah blah, and we have Mariah, the maidservant, the cook. I'm not sure. She does a variety of things, but she's her lady's servant, the lady of the house's servant, and she kind of takes it in stride. And as we find out, she has a little bit of a crush on Sir Toby Belch, and I think she takes it in stride for many reasons. Now, what she does is not freak out on them. She suggests that they calm down, but haha. So we barely really register those lines. All we do is register that Malvolio is mad at them. But what I'm getting at is that Malvolio is a delicious villain who gets his comeuppance in a very dramatic way. And I think when we're doing classics, we sort of think everyone knows this person is the villain. It's right there in the lines. Why would I have him do anything else but enter on the scenes that he's written into? That's not real. Malvolio should be present for some of their other merrymaking, and just because he has no lines doesn't mean he shouldn't be in the background doing strange things like tisk tisk or whatever, or measuring things. He's the steward of the house, the butler of the house. He's very much a control freak. So make him a delicious villain that we enjoy seeing getting his comeuppance. It takes very little to bait him into doing strange things and really sort of taking advantage of his lady, the lady of the house, because he's tricked by a letter that he finds on the ground that is supposedly in her handwriting, although it's not, and he does bizarre things to try to seduce her. Now, in this production, which was still very good, there wasn't much physical contact. There wasn't much closeness to the person he's trying to seduce, the mistress of the house. It was very strange. Now, there's going to be a picture up here of the way I think he should be handled. See, he's grabbing her inappropriately. And we see from everything, just from this photograph, that everything is inappropriate. She's the mistress of the house. She's the owner of the house. He is her servant. Okay? That's wrong. That's wrong for a lot of reasons. But in that production, which was years ago, we saw a lot of his terrible, terrible habits. His lines were delivered very cleverly, but we saw him a lot before that, tisking and tutting and running around and just... He was doing things to other characters who were not the drunks. He was tisking and tutting and being a jerk, being a control freak, being just mean, to other characters on the stage. Now, there wasn't a lot of time for this in the script. It starts right away, but it's the kind of thing that you should add into your production because it really reinforces the character. By the time he gets to his first line, we already know this is a bad guy. We don't like him. He is the villain. When the design comes up for his downfall, we are for him. We are for him getting his comeuppance. We are for the drunks, even though they're annoying. We are for the drunks and we are for the maidservant because they banded together to take him down, a few notch. And of course, the hilarity of the story is he goes way too far, much farther than they thought, and hilarity ensues. And there is no redemption for this character. His last line is, "I will be revenged on the lot of you." And then, quick, sew it up, the show ends. This is a fantastic show, but I'm noticing a lot of classic pieces that are being directed and produced, and just other things with villains. The villain is not supported in what's happening. We don't see much of their villainy. It's we don't see a Disney style villain. We don't see an obvious villain. For instance, Cruella de Vil. She's obvious. I'm going to make a fur coat out of puppies. The lines are right there. She's slightly crazy. Her clothes are fun, but we know in this world that we're watching, she's a nutcase. She's maniacal. She's slightly crazy. Okay, so we get right away. She is extreme. She is a villain. But not every show is like that. Every show is different, and how your villain is a villain is dependent on you. Sometimes just your lines do not support it. You have to have other things happening to really support what they're doing. Just coming out and saying your lines and expecting that to carry the character completely doesn't do the trick. And why not make it a delicious villain? A villain that is just so ludicrous and insane in whatever fashion. A control freak, a fashionista who's going to kill animals and make fur coats from their little bodies. Whatever it takes, give your actor the chance to really run with it in the world you've created and the parameters that you've created. Obviously, all your shows are different. There are different styles of theater, opera, plays. But what is really happening? What background information is happening? When we see Scrooge, we sort of see how he got there because we visit the past. And, the best lines are actually in the Muppet Christmas Carol. Why do you torture me with these visions of the past? These visions of the past are just memories. They are not exaggerated. Whatever she says it. They're not exaggerated. They're just records of the past. Don't blame me for your choices. And we see that his miserly ways, it's a great word. We don't use miser anymore. Your miserly ways, your paranoia, everything about you made your girlfriend dump you, and all these other things just kept piling onto you. And we know that you can be redeemed because this is just in your head. You're not really this person. You've just been living this way this whole time. Okay? We have a lot of fashion in movies now where the villain is redeemed. Maleficent. Look what happened to her. That's why she turned out the way she did. Okay? Whether you agree with her choices or not, this is how she became how she became. Kill Bill, we see what happened to the bride and why she became that vigilante. On and on and on. It seems like the 90s were like the decade of revenge films. We don't need your whole life story of your villain, but just because there's not lines doesn't mean there shouldn't be action. It doesn't mean there shouldn't be appearances in other scenes to show that's the evil person. They need to be taken down somehow or gotten rid of, or whatever the case may be in your play. Please do this. Just because you don't see it written in the scene doesn't mean they shouldn't be there. I know a lot of you are thinking, oh yeah, well of course in classics, I guess so. That sounds good. in all plays. Let's have a little more vision of the characters for what you think they might do to the rest of the people. Let's really understand that they are villains. Let's really enjoy what's going on in the play and not just let the lines carry us. Did I say that before? Because I really mean it. Give them background. Give them action. Give them things that are happening peripherally before we start hearing their wicked, evil lies. And the more crazy your villain, the better. You know, I wish all villains could be crazy, insane Disney villains where you really could get right into it and be crazy nuts, but they're not. And it, it depends on your story, but if they're villains you can have fun with and they have a hilarious comeuppance like Malvolio, why not? Go crazy. All right? That's my message for today. Please like and subscribe. I'm getting a lot of views. Thank you very, very much for that. But I need subscribers, and that'll really propel my channel forward. All right. Have a great time, and have a great new year. And I'll talk to you again. Bye.